to it, gang. Who got that first morning motivation quote of the morning?
I got two for you this morning. It's all about determination. I feel so determined right now. So it's all about determination. My first one is construct your determination with sustained effort, controlled attention, and concentrated energy. Opportunities never come to those who wait. They are captured by those who dare to attack. And that's Paul Meyer. And the reason it resonated with me so is because that's what determination really is. I never thought about it that way, but you gotta be willing to have that effort, pay attention to it, and use that energy to get it done. That's the only way that you're gonna progress through determination. You got to be able to have sustained energy, controlled action, and concentrated energy.
Love it, mama. I love it. I love it. Because I can hear how fired you up, how fired up you are right now. And one of the reasons why I go to the gym is because I'm trying to sustain energy, right? I'm not sure about everybody else, right? But I know, I used to think like, oh man, hustling and grinding is all about not getting no sleep. No, absolutely not. I got to get my sleep. I got to get rest. I got to make sure I go to the gym to sustain that energy. And then I got to be making progress inside of my life. If I do those three things, I got all the energy I need, and I really don't even need an alarm clock. You ever, went on a consistent run of you not needing an alarm clock, meaning you're waking up even before the time you actually got to wake up, right? That's because you're eager to get to your day. I mean, you're literally eager. You jump up out the bed and you're so early, so you just go make some coffee, right? And you start seeing it. You start seeing in your entire day. You go back and you look over what you're going to wear again, and you lay it out on the bed now because it's getting closer for time for you to put it on. I mean, you're almost anxious to get to your day. And then you got other days, right, where it's like, hold up, you laying in the bed, and you're not only laying in the bed to get some rest, but you're laying in the bed almost in fear of your day. Like, man, I can't believe I gotta, that's not the way I want to be. My day is not going to bully me. This life is not going to bully me. I'm going to bully my day. I'm going to bully my life to get the things that I want. You know what I'm saying? I don't plan on stepping on nobody else's neck, but I do plan on making sure that I fight back and I defeat my bully, right? Because we all got a personal bully, and it's called life, right? And it starts with your day. So start to conquer that so you can conquer life. I love that. Thank you for getting me fired up. Ron, you up?
Yeah, I have a quote, right? But I'm going to tell you a story.
Great.
You all know Steve Harvey, right?
Of course.
Okay. Steve Harvey's worth over $200 million. I was reading his story last night. I was watching his video on YouTube, right? He lived in his car for 3 years. Came down to it that he had $35 left in his pocket in Florida. He went to the phone booth and he checked his voicemail that he had at his father's house, right? And so call on there from the Apollo. And he calls the guy back, and the guy says, why don't you come up, show you one of your videos, I want you to come up. He says, I only have $35 in my pocket. He says, I'm in Florida, I can't fly up there. So the guy says, all right, let me know, I got one spot left. And then a few minutes later, he wanted to call the guy back. He hits the button. He's got another voicemail from a club down in Florida who says to him, we'll give you $150 for the night. So he called the guy back. He was 3.5 hours away from the place in Florida. So he goes there, right? He does the skit, and he gets $150. So the guy liked him so much, he gave him the next night a gig, and now he's got another $150. I got $300. Now he calls the guy back in the Apollo Theater, and he says to him, I'll be up. There's the spot still open. He says, yes. So he gets a $99 flight to New York. He goes up to the Apollo Theater. In the Apollo Theater, he doesn't have anywhere to go. So he got there early, and the guy told him, well, you can go upstairs. He said, but don't come down. So he was on the 6th floor where all the comedians are. So at 3 o'clock, he came down because he was hungry. The guy told him, you got 20 minutes to come back. He come back in 20 minutes, go upstairs, right? And then the other comedians start coming in. And he says that he was real nervous about going on at 11 o'clock at night. And in front of him was two well-known comedians today, forgot their names. Wasn't one of the Wayans brothers. It was two. Jamie Foxx was one of them, right? They booed him off stage. If you remember, I used to love that show, Showtime at the Apollo,
Mhm.
right? Okay. So he said they booed Jamie Foxx off the stage and another comedian off the stage, right? They booed him off the stage. And he gets on the stage, right? And he tears the house down, right? So they gave him a gig, at the Apollo. And then the host of the Apollo left to go do a sitcom. And the guy who replaced him left to do a sitcom. And they asked Steve Harvey if he would host the Apollo. Um, and believe it or not, he said he was the longest running host on the Apollo for 7 years, right? And the rest was history. But what he said was when he was in that car that night, he was crying and asking God, man, don't do this to me. And then he says in the video that he says, if you quit, there's nowhere to go. He says. So I said to myself, you got to push yourself and you got to keep moving. And he got that call, he said, because, I guess because he said God made him get that phone call, and his career after that was history. 7 years as a host on the Apollo Theater, the longest running host ever. And now the guy's worth over $200 million, and he's a nice guy too. That's the best part. I love Steve Harvey. Ro gets mad at me because I like to watch Family Feud.
Yeah. You know, he owns it, right? He owns
He
the
owns
rights to it in foreign countries. So he's releasing it now in foreign countries. I've heard that story at least 100 times. I've listened to Steve Harvey tell it, but I still enjoyed it listening to you tell it today, right?
and he
Just to take that story a little further, he used to pull over and fish. And this is when fishing was illegal just to fish anywhere, but he would pull over because all he had was a fishing rod. And that's how he would eat sometimes. It's just pull over and fish. And people would always run him off the land. And he told himself once he gets some money, he was going to buy some land so that he can go fishing and no one was going to run him off anymore.
amazing.
He got a chance to go buy some land. He wanted to buy maybe 10 acres. I forget what was the number, but he ended up buying something more like 400 acres. Something amazing that he actually runs a camp on right now for boys without fathers that he brings them every summer
Oh
for
yeah.
boys and their mother. Absolutely.
Uh-huh.
So when you receive those type of blessings, you definitely want to make sure that you give them back. And Steve Harvey is definitely inspiration.
Oh yeah. Good guy. Good guy. Helps a lot of people. Yeah, he's a good guy.
Powerful. Powerful, Ron. You got to study successful people. When you study successful people, they leave an obvious blueprint, right? Success leaves clues unless you're clueless. So thank you there. All right. You got a quote for us? Or was that your quote for the morning? I'm going to tell you.
That was my quote for the morning.
Powerful, powerful. Get that in you, guys. Get that in you. All right. With that being said, let's move right
Can
on.
I give my second one?
Absolutely. I'm sorry. You know what? We totally forgot about your second one. Your first one was on point. Your first one was on point. I'm gonna tell you something. You fired me up with your first one. I was ready to go.
You got to be fast, Charlene.
Yeah, faster than you.
Salesmen are quick talkers. You know that.
Right on.
Well, all right, Ron. Here's the second one. Think little goals and expect little achievements. Think big goals and win big success. And that David Schwartz. Short and quick. The bigger you think, the bigger you'll be. If you're small-minded, you're going to do small-minded things. Point blank.
Point blank. What I love about that quote is, first off, why did that resonate with you?
Because when you're going after something, you got to look at the full picture. You got to get an idea of exactly where you want to get to. You can't say, I want to get, say you're going from here to New York. I can't say, well, I'm going to get to Mississippi and then I'm going to take a break for a while. And then I'm going to go on down a couple more states and I'm going to take another break. You got to get focused and keep going straight forward. You got to make that goal be big enough that you don't want to stop trying to go at it.
Yes, yes, yes. It has to excite you. It has to excite you and it has to ignite you, right? I think back when I was a child, right? And I would get a chance to go see my father. and my father would send me a plane ticket, and I would be able to get on the plane, and I would be able to sit with the pilot and even look at all the buttons inside of the front of the plane. And then someone would walk me to the back to my seat, you know, and I would get off the plane and someone would be waiting on me there, and they would walk me to, you know, actually see my grandparents who were actually waiting on me. Then I would get home back to Tennessee, and I would be telling people all about my experiences. And as I'm telling people about the experiences, they couldn't believe it, right? I remember how open my mind was to just bigger and better things just because of that one small experience. And there was countless others that I was going through. I just did not know I was going through it. I say this to you because exposure. All I keep thinking about as you read that quote is exposure, more and more exposure. I think about exposure for you guys. I think about more exposure for myself. I think about more exposure for my kids, because you want to give people the chance for more exposure, because the more you're exposed to something, new ideas, be it knowledge, be it anything that's going to make them greater, expose them to it. Expose them to it. You know, I mean, you know, I can't tell you what it's done for my life just to be exposed to something. I've exposed my daughter to everything that I know that is going to help her. Even sometimes when the bills was due, you know, I exposed her to it, even as a child. Why? Because I need for her to understand, like, hey, you know what? This is what we have to do. This is a part of our lifestyle, making sure that we pay our bills, right? And hopefully that lesson sticks with her forever in her life. But I don't want to shield her from something I know she's going to have to go through and her be naive to it. That exposure is going to help her think much more bigger, right? I need for her to understand, you don't be afraid of problems. You run to problems, because but you once you become a problem solver, you are now solving not just your problems, but someone else's problems, because everybody else got those same problems. And that's how you become invaluable to this world. So I love that quote. Thank you. Drop that inside a Telegram. You firing me up this morning, man.
There.
All right, guys, let's get right on over to the training section. Open it up here and find where we are. All right. Using the facts, the next 4 minutes and 32 seconds. We're training.
Using the facts on unsold customers. You can actually take the facts, the statistics that exist, and you can use them to your benefit. That's what I do in my company. I say, look, this is what our competition won't do. This is what we're going to do. I always want to exploit those things that other companies refuse to do. Consider 65% of all companies on this planet don't nurture a lead. Oh, they paid for the lead. They advertised on Google search, okay? They did a retargeting campaign. They bought ads on Facebook or maybe on TV or radio or in the newspaper, generated a lead. Someone at 2 o'clock in the morning or 2 o'clock in the afternoon said, yeah, I'm interested in your product. I saw your ad and I'm interested. And then 48% of salespeople, they get a lead, don't even follow that lead up over the internet, phones, and even in person. Consider that the average salesperson never makes more than 2 calls. 80% of all sales are made between the 5th and the 12th contact. And it's going to lay you the foundation for what's necessary for you to do follow-up. First of all, you know this. Most companies are not doing follow-up. Almost 2 out of 3 companies in the United States of America will not follow up a customer. That's amazing. Also consider that 76% of all companies in this country have no employees. Why don't they have any employees? Because they don't follow up. Because they don't make enough money, make enough sales, create enough transactions, and have enough inflow of cash coming in to actually support employees. Either that or they took small business to a whole new realm, small being, no employees. Now, if you grow your business, because people don't cost you money, if you're a salesperson watching this right now, you need an assistant to do the follow-up that you're not doing. If you're a small company with 1 or 2 employees, you need more employees, and you need to understand people don't cost money. Lost sales cost money. That is the only thing in an organization that costs money. Losing a sale, losing income. So I'm trying to drive the point home right now with you that adding people to do the things you don't want to do cannot cost you money. It will follow up a customer. It will convert a lead into a sold customer. And it is certainly better, I think you'd agree, than giving a discount. Consider that 7 times, you have a 7x better chance of closing a deal if you follow up in the first hour. What does that mean to you? It means you got an internet lead at 2 o'clock in the morning. And there's nobody there to respond at 2:02 in the morning. Why? Oh, Grant, we're asleep. Your customer's not. Your customer hit your website. Your website's not asleep. It would suggest to the customer that your company's not asleep. But hey, you know what? Most companies are asleep. And that's why they go out of business. That's why they fail. That's why most companies fail within 5 years. They don't even exist. Follow-up must be done rapidly, quick. Consider that follow-up done within 5 minutes of a lead has a 9x better chance of closing and converting. Consider that MIT, fairly well-recognized name for a school, shows that calls done in 60 seconds after a lead is generated have a 500% increase in closing. Consider a company that calls the prospects first has a 248% better chance of closing and converting than a company that calls second, third, or fourth. Hey, if you're not first, basically you're last. Consider that 63% of people requesting information for your company today will not purchase in 3 months. I'm making a case to follow up. I'm making a case for you to understand you can exploit this weakness of other companies. Consider that 20% of every lead that you get will not make a purchase for 12 months. That means I need a follow-up program that's extensive, that's scheduled, that's laid out, that's easy to get to, that can respond to customers quickly, whether it's 2 o'clock in the morning or 2 o'clock in the afternoon. Are you ready? Are you paying attention? Do you want to grow your business? Look, if you're a slacker, if you're an average person, bail on the program now. It's not going to help you, okay? I'm telling you how to exploit. Get out of the average, get to the top, get in that top 10% of producers on this planet so you can take care of your family, you can take care of yourself, your company, your brand, and most importantly, you can take care of your dreams.
Numbers.
Using the facts on unsold customers, you can.
A lot of numbers on that one.
That's exactly what I said.
I hope you were writing them down, Charlene.
Tried as many as I could.
We're going to need it. Let's see here. Let's get started. Between the 5th and the 12th contact with the lead, blank of all sales are made. Is it 80%, 25%, 40, or 10%?
In 5 to 12 hours, Quincy?
No, between the 5th and the 12th contact with the lead. Is it 80% of sales are made, 25% of sales are made, 40% of sales are made, or 10% of sales are made?
I missed that one.
Jumped on that one for real. I don't even remember 5th to 12th. I missed it. I heard it, but I missed it.
A lot of numbers.
This was powerful. All right, I'll help you guys out. Hey, all right. You have a blank better chance of closing a deal if you follow up within the first blank. So you have a 7 times better chance of closing a deal if you follow up within the first day, or B, you have a 8 times better chance of closing a deal if you follow up within the first hour, or you have a 7 times better chance of closing a deal within the first hour, or do you have an 8 times better chance of closing a deal if you follow up within the first day?
7.5. See, I got that one.
I thought he said 9%, but okay. We'll go with Charlene.
See.
See, it is. It is imperative that you blank what the competition won't do. It is imperative that you copy what the competition won't do. It is imperative that you exploit what the competition won't do. It is imperative that you assess what the competition won't do. Or is it imperative that you ignore what the competition won't do?
Exploit.
Exploit.
All day. What the competition won't do. What this grant mention is the only thing that will cost an organization and or salesperson money. Is it people, inventory, competition, losing a sale?
Losing a sale.
All day long. Follow up done within 5 minutes of a lead has a blank better chance of closing and converting. Is it a 9 times? Is it a 3
9
times? 10 times? 30 times?
9 times.
All
There's
day.
no 9 times.
Drum roll, please. That's how you do it, guys. That's how you do it. So obviously, a hun done, great for our self-esteem, but what did we learn?
You know what, Quincy? I agree with him 100%. When I was doing in the beginning when we had the Indeed, as soon as somebody popped up on the screen, I call them back. Sometimes they don't pick up, which was really mind-boggling to me because I call them back within a minute and I don't know where they went, but then I would leave them a message or a text message. But you got to stay on top of them. I call them right back.
Follow up, important. Absolutely. Absolutely. What about when you all those years of doing door to door and a customer would tell you such and such is not home and you get their number and you call right then and there at the door while you're standing
Oh, take my phone out and say, all right, let's give them a call.
right away, right? I can't tell you how many times I've closed a customer just like that. I've closed customers and recruited people out of their homes just like that by the way that I've conducted myself and handled myself, and they saw how easily I did that without the customer being there. And even though that's their family, because they were actually inside the house, meaning literally, I recruited a girl who I spoke to her mother, signed her mother up, and then she's like, hey, how do I get this job? And I could tell that she was impressed just by how I conducted myself. So it was powerful. It's powerful. Follow-up is important. You know, there were so many different things that resonated with me, but what about you, mommy?
Whew. Yeah, there was a lot of numbers. My head's still swimming off the numbers. But like you said, you got to grow the business in order to be able to keep up with your follow-up. And if that means that you need to get other people to take on that role as far as making those follow-up calls, then that's what you need to do, because it's not the people that cost you the money, even though you might have to pay somebody. You lose the money by not even doing that. And so that's where he said be a loss in sales and your income.
Powerful. Absolute game changer. Absolute game changer. There was so much that went through my mind at that point, literally how, again, we're a company that we try to take the anxiety out of everything that we do. We've always followed up for our guys, like as if we've given them a personal assistant, right? And that's one of the things that a key area that we do that others don't do, that we exploit that, right? And then I just think about how much further we have to go in terms of just making sure that we get a specific with what it is that we do and get separate departments running at full capacity, 100% on go mode. I love it. I love it. I love it. Guys, with that being said, that's where we end today's call. Amazing call today. One of my favorites. I will speak to you guys soon. Later.